The planet Eridan 7 was a cold, barren world at the edge of human-controlled space. Its surface was jagged and rough, with jagged rock formations piercing the reddish sky like broken teeth. Human engineers and scientists had established a small outpost here to study rare minerals beneath the planet's surface. It was not an easy assignment. The air was thin, and storms of red dust swept across the plains without warning. Yet, for humanity, even the harshest worlds were opportunities. Humans had a stubbornness that no storm, no rock, and no enemy could break. Captain Rhea Morgan stood on the ridge overlooking the outpost. Her sharp eyes scanned the horizon. The sensors on the outpost had been picking up strange readings for days, but nothing concrete. The planet was supposed to be empty, yet she had a feeling in her gut that something was coming. She adjusted her comm headset and spoke softly. "Team Alpha, maintain your positions. Keep your eyes on the ridgelines. Something feels off." Her squad of engineers, soldiers, and miners moved carefully, carrying portable rifles, tools, and scanners. Even in a routine mission, humans never let their guard down. Their movements were precise, disciplined, like a single organism moving in perfect coordination. Suddenly, the sky erupted in streaks of light. Aliens. Swift, angular ships swooped in from the horizon, firing beams of energy. Explosions rocked the outpost. The ground trembled under the impact. Dust and debris flew into the air as alarms blared. "Contact! Contact! They're here!" shouted Lieutenant Kiran Das, one of Rhea's second-in-command. The humans scattered, using the jagged rocks and ruins of the outpost as cover. Bullets and energy bolts zipped past them, striking walls and sending sparks flying. The aliens were faster, more numerous, and clearly expecting little resistance. Yet humans had something the aliens could not understand: their ability to stay calm under pressure. Rhea crouched behind a broken wall and surveyed the battlefield. Several of the outpost's automated turrets had already been destroyed. A supply shuttle had been hit and was smoldering. Her team was pinned down, but she refused to panic. She reached for her comm and issued commands. "Alpha, fall back to the secondary ridge. Protect civilians and secure the railgun. We are not losing it today." The railgun. Even the aliens didn't know much about it. It was a massive weapon designed for precision and raw destructive power, capable of disabling enemy ships from miles away. It was human ingenuity in steel and circuits, a symbol of how far humans had pushed technology. Today, it might be humanity's only hope. The squad moved in tight formation, sliding down rocky slopes and weaving between ruined structures. Small firefights erupted as alien patrols pursued them. Yet every time an alien tried to flank them, a human team member anticipated it, shooting or dodging with incredible timing. One of the aliens, larger than the others, with gray armored plating and glowing red eyes, charged forward. It fired a pulse that shattered a nearby wall, sending dust into the air. Sergeant Lila Chen stepped out from cover, her rifle aimed with precision, and fired 3 quick shots. The alien staggered, confused by the sudden human counterattack, before retreating with a growl that sounded almost like frustration. "Good work," Rhea muttered. "Keep moving. Don't stop until we reach the ridge." The ridge was higher ground, perfect for the railgun. It offered a clear line of sight to the outpost and surrounding plains. Humans knew the importance of position in battle. Aliens might have superior numbers, but humans had discipline, coordination, and weapons that could change the course of a fight. As the squad climbed the ridge, a young engineer named Jai Patel glanced back at the outpost. Smoke was rising, and the ground seemed to burn from alien energy blasts. His hands shook slightly, but he forced himself to steady his breath. "Rhea," he said over the comm, "they're everywhere. We won't hold them much longer if—" Rhea cut him off. "Then we make them regret every shot. The railgun is waiting. Focus on survival until then." Minutes felt like hours as they reached the top. The railgun, a massive cylinder of steel and plasma coils, sat half-buried in a reinforced platform. It had been designed for precision strikes against enemy ships, but today, it would be humanity's sword against the aliens' pride. Rhea watched as the railgun operators began preparing the weapon. Lieutenant Das checked the power core. All systems green, ready for authorization. Rhea nodded. Stand by. They will not expect us to fire from here. Remember, one shot is all it takes to change the battle. Below them, the aliens advanced. Their ships darted between the rocks, firing with deadly accuracy. Humans ducked and dodged, using every boulder and crater for cover. Yet, even under relentless fire, they moved with calm determination. Civilians were herded into temporary shelters while soldiers provided covering fire. Rhea, Sergeant Chen said, peering through her scope. They're concentrating their attack on the southern flank. If we can hold them there, the railgun can hit the command ship. Rhea considered the suggestion. It was risky, but it was the only way. The railgun could destroy the alien command ship, which would disorganize the attackers. One precise strike could save the lives of everyone on the outpost. Do it, she said firmly. Hold them at the southern ridge. Give the railgun a clear shot. The humans prepared traps, camouflaged mines, and automated turrets to hold the flank. The aliens, confident in their numbers, moved forward without caution. It was exactly what the humans needed. Discipline and strategy versus raw aggression. The first shot from the railgun echoed across the barren plains. A bright flash lit up the sky as a projectile streaked through space at incredible speed. It struck the alien command ship with pinpoint accuracy. The resulting explosion lit the horizon, sending shards of metal and fire into the air. The aliens froze, momentarily stunned by the sudden destruction. Direct hit, Jai shouted, a grin spreading across his dusty face. Did you see that? Did you see that? Rhea allowed herself a brief smile, but her eyes never left the battlefield. The aliens would regroup, and they would retaliate. That was certain. But humans had shown their resolve. Humans were not easy prey. Prepare for counterattack, she ordered. They will not expect our next move. The aliens began to spread out, attempting to flank the ridge from multiple directions. But humans anticipated it. Small squads moved with silent efficiency, cutting off approaches and using clever distractions. The railgun fired again, this time taking out a smaller battleship attempting to encircle them. Every shot was calculated, precise, and devastating. Yet, despite the success, the humans knew this was only the beginning. The aliens were curious, intelligent, and determined. They would not retreat without a fight. Rhea, Chen said, checking her ammo. We're holding, but supplies are running low. If they keep this up, We will not run out, Rhea interrupted firmly. Humans never give up. We adapt, we survive, and we win. Remember that. We are not just soldiers, we are humanity. And humanity does not yield. The squad nodded, hearts pounding but faces steady. Each human knew the meaning of survival, of courage, and of sacrifice. They had been fired upon, outnumbered, and underestimated. But they were alive. And the railgun, humanity's ultimate tool, was ready. Above the ridge, a cold wind swept across the battlefield. The sky burned red with alien energy blasts, and the ground shook with explosions. Yet, in the midst of chaos, the humans stood firm. They had no illusions about the danger, but they had confidence in their strength, their unity, and their technology. And somewhere deep in space, watching the small ridge on Eridan 7, the aliens began to reconsider. Humans were not just another species to attack. They were a force unlike any other. Rhea looked at the railgun, at her team, and then at the advancing enemy. Her hand rested on her rifle, but her mind was on strategy, calculation, and the next move. One shot at a time, one decision at a time, humans would survive. Humans would fight back. And when they did, the galaxy would learn that firing upon humanity came with a price. The first day of the battle had begun. The outpost was under attack, but humanity had responded, and the railgun was ready to make the first statement in a war that no alien would forget. The night on Eridan 7 was harsh and merciless. Red storms swept across the barren plains, carrying dust that cut like tiny knives. Yet on the ridge, humans held their ground. The railgun loomed behind them, silent but ready, a massive testament to human engineering. Its coils glowed faintly with power, waiting for the moment when it would strike again. Captain Rhea Morgan stood over the railgun operators, her eyes scanning the battlefield below. Despite the chaos of the first strike, the aliens had not retreated. They were regrouping, spreading across the plains with a cautious but steady advance. Their ships moved in patterns, attempting to flank the ridge from multiple directions. Lieutenant Kiran Das crouched beside a control panel. "Captain, their scouts are moving in from the east. They're trying to find a weak point in our defense." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Good. Let them come. The railgun doesn't miss." The railgun team had already powered up the weapon fully. Its hum was low but ominous, vibrating through the ridge as if the very mountain itself was alive. The operators adjusted targeting arrays, using human ingenuity to track multiple moving targets at once. Every calculation had to be precise. One shot could destroy an enemy ship, or miss entirely, if even a fraction of a degree was off. "Ready," said Sergeant Lila Chen, peering through the scope. "All targets in range." Below, the alien forces began to test the ridge. Small squads darted between rocks, firing bursts of energy at humans. Automated turrets and small arms retaliated, keeping the aliens at bay. Humans moved like shadows, striking when needed and retreating when necessary. Civilians were being moved into safer areas, guided by disciplined soldiers who treated every life as precious. Rhea's mind worked quickly. She knew the importance of timing. The railgun could not fire constantly. It needed to recharge, and each shot required exact calculations. The aliens would try to overwhelm them before the weapon could be used effectively. A scout ship swooped low, firing a laser pulse that struck the ground mere meters from the humans. Dust exploded into the air. A young soldier named Malik Hassan dove to the side, rolling behind cover. He peeked over the edge and fired a quick volley, hitting the alien pilot. The ship veered off, crashing into the rocks below. "Nice shot," Rhea shouted. "Keep them off balance." The first wave of alien troops continued to press forward, unaware that humans had a plan. Captain Morgan signaled the railgun operator, and a low hum filled the air. The weapon's coil glowed brighter, energy coursing through it like lightning captured in steel. The railgun fired. A single projectile streaked through the darkened sky at unimaginable speed. It struck the alien command ship hovering above the battlefield. The impact was absolute. The ship shuddered, then exploded in a blinding flash of fire and metal. Pieces rained down across the plains, sending smaller ships scattering. The aliens froze, stunned by the power they had just witnessed. "Direct hit!" Jai Patel shouted. His eyes shone with awe and relief. That was perfect." Rhea didn't smile. She knew the fight was far from over. The aliens were intelligent. They would adapt, regroup, and attempt another attack. But humans had already gained the upper hand. They had shown that their weapons were precise, their strategy sound, and their resolve unshakable. Lieutenant Das observed the battlefield. "They're confused, Captain. They're pulling back slightly." "Good," Rhea said. "We give them a taste of fear. Then we finish what we started." The aliens regrouped behind large rock formations, their larger ships providing cover for smaller squads advancing toward the ridge. Rhea's team anticipated this. Automated turrets had been repositioned, mines were laid across likely approach paths, and small squads prepared ambushes. Every human acted with calm precision, their movements honed by years of training and experience. Suddenly, an alien assault squad attempted to rush the ridge from the west. They moved in formation, weapons firing in bursts that shattered rocks and sent dirt flying. But humans were ready. "Open fire," Rhea commanded. The humans attacked with coordination. Rifles fired in controlled bursts. Mines exploded under the alien advance, sending soldiers flying backward. Automated turrets rained bullets on the attackers, forcing them to retreat. Every movement was calculated, every shot precise. The aliens began to realize that these humans were not easy prey. Rhea directed the railgun operators to prepare for the next shot. The target, a small battleship attempting to flank their position. The calculations were complex. The ship was moving fast, weaving between rocky outcrops, but humans thrived on challenges. Target locked, Chen said. Fire, Rhea commanded. The railgun discharged, and the projectile flew faster than the eye could follow. It hit the alien ship squarely, tearing it apart in a flash of light and fire. The battlefield trembled under the force. The remaining alien forces scattered, uncertain how to continue. Jai clapped his hands, unable to hide his excitement. Captain, did you see that? One weapon. And they're falling apart. Rhea placed a firm hand on his shoulder. See that, yes, but don't celebrate yet. They're clever, and clever enemies learn quickly. The aliens regrouped again, this time sending reinforcements from above. Their larger ships hovered just outside the railgun's maximum range, preparing to bombard the humans from a distance. But humans had anticipated this too. Using the ridge's natural cover, teams moved from position to position, luring the ships closer while keeping civilians safe. Every human on the ridge understood their role. Survival depended on discipline, teamwork, and courage. Rhea scanned the horizon. The sky was a swirl of red storms, alien fire, and distant explosions. Despite the chaos, the humans maintained focus. Each human knew that fear was the enemy. Panic could destroy the advantage they had gained. But humanity had a different approach: adapt, endure, fight, and survive. The railgun fired again, this time hitting a smaller ship attempting to bypass their defenses. The shot was perfect, and the alien pilot had no chance to react. The ship disintegrated in a flash, sending debris across the rocky plains. Even the most aggressive alien forces hesitated, unsure how to continue against such precise and overwhelming power. Captain, Lieutenant Doss said, pointing to the southern flank, they're trying to regroup again. They might attempt a mass charge toward the ridge. Rhea considered the situation carefully. A mass charge would be risky for the aliens, but they might think they had no other choice. Prepare the traps, she ordered. Prepare everything we have. We will not let them take the ridge. Small squads moved into position, laying mines and preparing rifles. Automated turrets were readied to fire in sweeping arcs. Civilians were secured deeper into the ridge, behind reinforced barricades. Every human understood the stakes. Their discipline and courage were not just for themselves, they were protecting lives, homes, and the symbol of humanity's strength. The aliens advanced in a coordinated charge. Their larger ships provided cover, while squads on the ground moved forward, energy weapons blazing. But humans were ready. They attacked in waves, using the terrain to their advantage. Mines exploded beneath alien feet, and rifles fired with deadly accuracy. Every move was precise, every action calculated. The railgun fired again, targeting the largest ship in the formation. The projectile struck with devastating effect, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The aliens were forced to retreat once more, their formation breaking under the relentless human counterattack. Rhea took a deep breath. She knew this was only the beginning. The aliens had seen the railgun's power and the humans' discipline. They would not retreat forever, but humans had proven that they could survive even the most dangerous assaults. Good work, everyone, she said, her voice steady. We held the ridge. We showed them what humanity can do. But stay alert. The next wave could be even stronger. The humans stood tall, despite exhaustion and wounds. They had been fired upon, ambushed, and outnumbered, yet they had not broken. Their discipline, courage, and technology had turned the tide of the battle. Above the ridge, the sky began to clear slightly, revealing the stars of distant galaxies. The humans looked out at the battlefield, knowing that their fight was far from over. Yet they also knew something important. Humans were not easily defeated. Somewhere in the alien fleet, commanders watched in disbelief. They had underestimated humans, just as many species before them had. These humans were not just survivors, they were warriors, thinkers, and innovators. And they had weapons that no other species could match. Rhea looked at the railgun one more time. It was more than a weapon. It was a statement, a warning, a symbol of humanity's determination and ingenuity. As long as humans had courage, intelligence, and technology, no force in the galaxy could easily overcome them. The night on Eridan 7 was far from over, but humans had already made their mark. They had survived the first assault. They had shown that even on a hostile planet, even against unknown enemies, humanity would not bow. And the railgun, silent now but ready, was a promise. Fire upon humans, and you will pay the price. The battle was only beginning. The aliens had learned one simple truth. Humans were not just another species to conquer. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. And they were just getting started. The dawn on Eridan 7 broke slowly, the red light of the planet casting long shadows across the jagged plains. The battlefield was quiet for a moment, but the silence was deceptive. Both sides knew the fight was far from over. Humans had held the ridge through the night, surviving waves of alien attacks. And the aliens were not the type to accept defeat. Captain Rhea Morgan walked along the ridge, her boots crunching against the rocky ground. Her team was exhausted, bruised, and weary, but their eyes burned with determination. Every soldier, every engineer, every scout knew that survival depended on their next moves. Humans had proven they could endure, but now it was time to take the fight to the aliens. Lieutenant Kieran Das approached, pointing to distant shapes moving across the plains. "Captain, they're regrouping. Looks like a full assault is coming from the south. They've learned from last night." Rhea's gaze hardened. "Good, let them come. We'll be ready." The railgun team prepared the weapon for a coordinated strike. The massive cylinder of steel glowed faintly, humming with energy, ready to unleash destruction on command. Unlike the aliens, humans had patience and precision. Every shot would count. Sergeant Lila Chen checked the targeting system. "We've got multiple targets. Their formations are tighter now. If we fire, it needs to be perfect." Rhea nodded. "It will be. Humans don't miss when it matters most." Below the ridge, alien squads began moving in synchronized waves. Their larger ships provided cover fire, while smaller ground units attempted to find weaknesses in the humans' defense. The humans were outnumbered, but their strategy was far superior. "Spread out," Rhea commanded. "Use the terrain, set traps, and force them into our fire lanes." Small squads darted between rocks and trenches, firing controlled bursts at advancing aliens. Mines detonated under enemy feet, sending soldiers flying and creating chaos in their ranks. Automated turrets rained bullets on exposed enemies, forcing them to retreat momentarily. Every human moved with discipline, a stark contrast to the reckless aggression of their attackers. Jai Patel, the young engineer, operated a secondary railgun targeting system. His hands moved swiftly over the controls, calculating angles, speed, and distance. The railgun was more than a weapon. It was an extension of human intellect, precision, and ingenuity. "Target locked," Jai said. His voice was steady, though his heart raced. "Fire!" Rhea ordered. The railgun discharged. A single projectile streaked across the battlefield like a bolt of lightning. It struck the lead alien battleship, tearing it apart in a flash of fire and metal. The shockwave rolled across the plains, sending smaller ships into disarray. Alien soldiers on the ground froze, uncertain where to move next. "Direct hit," Chen whispered. Her face was calm, but her eyes reflected awe at the devastation caused by the weapon. The humans took advantage of the confusion. Small squads moved quickly, striking at disoriented aliens, rescuing civilians trapped in ruined buildings, and securing energy supplies to keep the railgun operational. Every human understood that this was more than survival. It was victory through precision, teamwork, and courage. The aliens attempted to regroup. Their larger ships hovered at the edge of the railgun's range, while ground units spread out looking for weak points. Rhea's mind raced. She needed to anticipate their moves. "Prepare for the flank," she ordered. "They'll try to attack from the west while keeping their main force in front." Teams moved into position, laying traps, setting mines, and taking cover behind rocks. Humans had turned the battlefield into a deadly maze for their enemies. The aliens, powerful and aggressive, now faced something unexpected. Humans who were clever, disciplined, and relentless. The first wave of the flank approached, thinking they had found an opportunity. But humans were ready. Turrets opened fire, and rifles cut through the ranks with deadly accuracy. Mines exploded beneath their feet. Panic spread quickly among the alien forces. Even the largest and strongest soldiers hesitated, unsure how to continue. "Railgun, ready for secondary target," Jai reported. Rhea scanned the battlefield. The largest ship remaining was attempting to hover above the ridge to provide cover for advancing aliens. It would be a perfect target for the railgun. "Fire," she commanded. The railgun projectile hit its mark. The ship disintegrated in a brilliant flash of light. The remaining alien forces on the ground faltered, unsure what to do next. Humans had destroyed their strongest support and disrupted their formations. "Keep pushing," Rhea said. "We're not done yet. Humans don't stop until the fight is finished." Human squads surged forward, taking advantage of the alien confusion. Small, disciplined units moved like shadows across the battlefield, striking precisely and retreating before the enemy could react. The aliens tried to regroup, but every move was anticipated. Every strategy countered. Humans had the patience, intelligence, and courage to adapt quickly. Even civilians assisted where they could. Engineers helped clear rubble, carried supplies, and repaired damaged turrets. Every human on the ridge contributed to the effort. Survival was not just the responsibility of soldiers, it was a human endeavor. The aliens attempted one final charge, hoping to overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers. They fired energy weapons, advancing as a unit across the rocky plains. But humans had prepared for this. Mines exploded under the enemy ranks, turrets rained fire, and rifles cut through the formation with precision. The railgun fired once more, targeting a grouping of enemy vehicles, destroying them instantly. The shockwave scattered the remaining aliens. "Captain, they're breaking," Chen shouted. Rhea's lips curved into a small, confident smile. "Good. Now we finish this." Humans pressed their advantage. The remaining alien forces attempted to flee, but humans anticipated their routes. Teams moved quickly to intercept, using clever traps and precise shooting to prevent escape. The aliens realized they had underestimated humanity. Every attack had been countered, every strategy anticipated. Humans were not just surviving, they were dominating. Jai Patel checked the railgun's systems. "Weapons still operational. We can fire once more if needed." Rhea considered the battlefield. One final shot could end the fight completely. She focused on the largest remaining alien ship, hovering near a canyon edge. It was their last hope for retreat. "Fire!" she commanded. The railgun fired. The projectile streaked across the sky and hit the alien ship with devastating precision. The ship exploded in a massive fireball, and the shockwave rolled across the plains, sending the remaining alien troops scattering. The battlefield was quiet now, except for the wind and distant fires. Rhea looked across the plains. Humans had turned the tide. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and ambushed, yet they had survived and prevailed. It was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. The aliens would not forget this day. Lieutenant Dawes approached her. "Captain, they're retreating. I think this battle is over." Rhea nodded. "For now. But remember, this is only one battle. Humans will always be ready. We adapt, we fight, and we survive. Always." The humans began to secure the battlefield. Wounded soldiers and civilians were assisted, fires were controlled, and remaining alien technology was salvaged. Every human understood the cost of victory, but also the importance of preparation, discipline, and unity. Above the ridge, the railgun stood silent but proud. It had fired only a few times, yet each shot had changed the course of the battle. Humans had combined technology, strategy, and courage to overcome a superior force. The weapon was a symbol of human ingenuity, determination, and power. Rhea gazed at the horizon. The alien retreat was complete. Eridan 7 was quiet once more, except for the wind sweeping across the barren plains. The humans had proven something important. No matter the odds, no matter the enemy, humanity would survive. And when humanity fought, it fought with precision, intelligence, and unyielding courage. Jai Patel finally allowed himself a small smile. "Captain, we did it. They're gone." Rhea looked at him, her expression steady. "For now, But remember this, humans are never truly gone. We adapt, we endure, we fight back. Always. The humans of Eridan 7 had survived the night, faced overwhelming odds, and emerged victorious. The aliens had learned something they would never forget. Firing upon humans came with a cost. Humans were clever, resilient, and fearless. They were a species that refused to be defeated. And as the sun rose over the jagged plains, the humans began repairing their outpost, tending to their wounded, and preparing for whatever the galaxy would send next. Humanity had struck back, and the galaxy would take notice. The battlefield of Eridan 7 was quiet now. Smoke rose from the scorched plains, twisting into the red sky like fingers of warning. Alien ships had retreated beyond the horizon, leaving behind broken machines, scattered troops, and the realization that they had underestimated humanity. On the ridge, humans moved with purpose. Their bodies were tired, faces smeared with dust and grime, but their eyes burned with determination. Captain Rhea Morgan walked among her team, checking positions and offering encouragement. Her gaze lingered on the railgun, now silent but still radiating power. It had changed the battle. With only a handful of precise shots, it had turned the tide and struck fear into an enemy that believed humans could be easily crushed. Lieutenant Kiran Das approached, his expression serious. "Captain, reports indicate that the remaining alien forces are in full retreat. They are heading back to their fleet, likely to regroup and reconsider their strategy." Rhea nodded. "Let them go. They've learned the hard way that humans do not yield." The humans began the work of securing the battlefield. Engineers moved quickly to repair damaged turrets and communication arrays. Soldiers checked for survivors, both human and alien, ensuring that every life was accounted for. Humanity fought with precision and honor, taking no pleasure in unnecessary destruction. Jai Patel, the young engineer who had operated the secondary targeting system, knelt beside a downed alien drone. He examined it carefully, marveling at the technology. "Captain," he said, "even though it was designed to destroy us, we can learn from it. We can improve our systems even more." Rhea placed a hand on his shoulder. "That's the difference between humans and others. We learn, we adapt. We grow stronger every time we face a challenge." Meanwhile, small teams moved to secure civilian shelters and assist those injured during the attacks. Soldiers carried wounded scientists and engineers to medical stations, while medics worked tirelessly to stabilize them. Even under pressure, humans maintained a calm, disciplined approach. Every life mattered, every detail counted. Sergeant Lila Chen surveyed the plains. "Captain, we've counted enemy casualties and secured the area. It's clear. They won't return here for a long time. They've learned to fear humans." Rhea allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. "Good. But we remain vigilant. This planet is only one corner of the galaxy. Humans will always be ready for the next challenge." The railgun had fired only a few times, but the effect was undeniable. Each shot had been precise, deadly, and efficient. Ships destroyed, formations scattered, morale shattered. The aliens had underestimated humans, but they would not make that mistake again. As the day progressed, Rhea called her team together on the ridge. The sun's red light glinted off their armor and rifles. They stood tall, exhausted but proud, overlooking the battlefield they had defended. "Today," Rhea began, her voice steady and strong, "we have faced an enemy that thought us weak. They fired upon us, expecting an easy victory. They were wrong. Humans adapt. Humans endure. Humans fight. And today, humanity has won. Not because of numbers, but because of courage, intelligence, and teamwork." Her team listened in silence, their hearts swelling with pride. They had survived the ambush, turned the tide of battle, and demonstrated what it truly meant to be human. Lieutenant Das stepped forward. "Captain, we've also recovered alien data from the battlefield. Their fleet's movement patterns, communications, and strategies. This could give us a huge advantage for the future." Rhea's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Good. We will study it. Humans never stop learning. Every battle teaches us something new, and every lesson makes us stronger." The civilians of the outpost emerged from shelters, cheering quietly as soldiers helped them recover supplies and repaired damaged structures. Humanity had survived, but it had also shown mercy. Alien soldiers who had surrendered were taken as prisoners, treated according to universal standards, and questioned for information. Humans did not destroy for pleasure. They destroyed only when necessary. Jai Patel wiped sweat from his brow. "Captain, it's amazing. We were outnumbered, outgunned, and yet we held our ground." "I've never felt more proud to be human," Rhea smiled faintly. "Pride is fine, Jai. But remember, vigilance is better. The galaxy is full of threats, and humans will meet them all. Not just survive, but thrive. That is what makes us strong." As the sun climbed higher, distant scouts reported the final movements of the alien fleet. They were leaving Eridan 7, defeated but alive, their arrogance shattered. Humans had demonstrated their strength, precision, and intelligence. The aliens would carry this lesson far across the stars. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Rhea turned to her team. "Today, humans have fought not just for survival, but for honor. For the outpost. For each other. And for humanity itself. Remember this moment. Let it remind you of what we are capable of when we act together." Small celebrations began among the troops and civilians. They shared food, tended to minor injuries, and repaired essential equipment. Laughter and chatter replaced the tension of battle, but the sense of accomplishment was more than relief. It was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and resilience. The railgun, now silent, remained on the ridge as a symbol. It was a reminder of the human's ability to innovate and to dominate with precision rather than brute force alone. Scientists and engineers examined its systems, already planning improvements for future conflicts. Sergeant Chen approached Rhea, her expression thoughtful. "Captain, the aliens underestimated us. They expected fear, confusion, and surrender. Instead, they found discipline, courage, and innovation. Humanity is something they cannot ignore." Rhea's eyes swept over the horizon. "Exactly. That is what we must remember. Not just for this battle, but for all those to come. Humans are a species that refuses to yield. We face the impossible and find a way to succeed. That is our strength. That is HFY." As the day faded, a quiet settled over the ridge. The plains were littered with the remnants of the alien assault, but humanity had endured. They had not only defended their outpost, but had also sent a message to the galaxy. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. Rhea looked down at her team, each of them tired but proud. She felt a swell of respect for each human who had fought and survived. The aliens had thought humans weak and unprepared. They had been wrong. Every human on Eridan 7 had proved that courage, intelligence, and teamwork could overcome any enemy. The civilians gathered around, grateful for the protection humans had provided. Engineers began repairing structures, while medics cared for the wounded. Soldiers checked perimeter defenses, ensuring that the outpost was secure. Even after the battle, humans did not rest until safety was guaranteed. Rhea's comm crackled. "Captain, sensors report strange signals beyond the horizon. Could be alien remnants or just natural activity." She smiled faintly. "Then we prepare. Humans do not fear the unknown. We meet it head-on. That is what makes us strong." The outpost slowly returned to life. Fires were extinguished, walls repaired, and energy shields restored. The railgun stood ready for the next challenge, a silent sentinel watching over the plains. Humans had survived the ambush, repelled the enemy, and secured the outpost. They had shown what it truly meant to be human: brave, intelligent, resilient, and unstoppable. Rhea gazed at the horizon. The alien fleet had been defeated, but humanity's fight was never truly over. Other threats would come. Other worlds would challenge them. But humans had proven once again that no matter the danger, they would endure. They would adapt, they would fight, and they would win. Lieutenant Das stood beside her. "Captain, do you think they'll return?" Rhea shook her head slowly. "Perhaps, but when they do, they will face the full strength of humanity, and they will learn the same lesson again. Fire upon humans, and you will pay the price. Always. The team looked out across the plains, feeling the weight of what they had achieved. They had survived a deadly ambush, turned the tide of battle with strategy and technology, and shown the galaxy what humans were capable of. The railgun had fired. Humans had fought. Humanity had triumphed. As the stars began to shine above Eridan 7, a quiet pride settled over the ridge. Humans were not just survivors. They were warriors, thinkers, and innovators. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. And the galaxy, far and wide, would never forget the day the humans fired back. Captain Rhea Morgan looked at her team one last time. Remember this. Remember what we've done here. We are human. We endure. We fight. We prevail. That is who we are. That is HFY. And with that, the humans of Eridan 7 began rebuilding, ready to face the next challenge, stronger, smarter, and more united than ever before. The battle was over. Humanity had won,